So here we have the debate on whether or not we should allow fracking. On this side, we have Emma and Abby who are against it. And on the opposing side, we have Carter and Mr. Thomas who believe that fracking is a good idea. So the team of Emma and Abby would like to begin. The floor is yours.
I would like to explain what fracking is, for not very many people know. Fracking, short for hydraulic fracturing, is a modernized way to harvest petroleum and natural gas. Sand, fresh water, and chemicals are propelled into gargantuan masses of shale under high pressure to induce fracturing in the rock around it. Sound efficient? Think again. In order to fracture the shale, thousands of gallons of fresh water, acres of land, and undisclosed chemicals must be used.
True, but when they do fracking, instead of just going straight down,
they go down and then they
it's
drill to the side, making one site way more effective.
Okay. As our wasteland creeps nearer to the brink of environmental collapse, we as humans should be trying to conserve and replace what we've taken. And fracking does just the opposite of that. And what do you do now that the gas has been extracted and the water has served its purpose, but is now polluted? Well, the oil companies do not know how to correctly dispose of it without it costing them superfluous amounts of money. So this can pose a serious environmental threat because the polluted water is dumped into the surrounding landscape where it then finds its way into lakes, rivers, and aquifers, and finds its way to groundwater with the rain. And all of these are water sources for the inhabitants of the surrounding area. Some cases have been recorded in New York and Pennsylvania where inhabitants have literally been able to light their tap water on fire because of high levels of lead methane assumed to be from local fracking sites. These chemicals can cause chronic skin rashes and could poison people who rely on tap water.
Well, there are people who are now trying to find ways to distill the water and put chemicals that don't harm the environment as much into the fracking fluid instead of the harmful chemicals.
and also some companies have found ways to actually filter the water so they can, well, you said it different. Well, you said it so they can
distill it and get the water closer to pure again.
Ultimately, those will be companies that do not stay in business as long because the other companies are making much larger sums of money because they do not take the time or money to distill or filter or dispose of the water.
And plus, fracking does not only pose a threat to water cleanliness, but air quality as well. Fumes supposedly emitted from a gas chimney site cause symptoms such as headaches, nausea, wheezing, vomiting, dizziness, and some unconsciousness, and a burning sensation in the throat. And doctors at a PA clinic, the company that owns the site, denies responsibility for the air pollution. They could potentially be deadly for people suffering asthma or other respiratory diseases.
But since at the dawn of time, we didn't know how to frack, so we used oil. But now,
Oil burns way more and it emits way more greenhouse gases than natural gas.
also, since we have used up all that supply of oil in the oil spill, we have lost lots and lots of oil. In 2002, a barrel of oil cost $20.
Now it
Now,
costs like
$100 and up. Now, that's
oil.
That's
Now,
oil.
natural gas
Yes.
prices have not actually gone up that much
They
in the same amount of time. They've been about the same.
They have stayed within the range of $10 to $20 since we have been fracking. Since there's so much more natural gas and it can be compressed, we use more of it, but it will read, there's more in a water bottle of compressed natural gas than there is in a gallon of water.
I agree. But ultimately, this will quicken our impending doom. Because there are other alternate ways to drive fuel, such as wind energy or solar energy, and this will take some investing in America. But in the long run, it will make our lives so much more successful and so much more constructive. And we will be able to make the human race a long-lasting species.
I have something to add to that. So, go on. You were just saying.
So, humans are not the only ones that will be affected by fracking. Other species of animals will be affected as well when their habitat is disrupted and destroyed as land becomes polluted or developed. Plants may also feel heat as groundwater now full of chemicals may disrupt the way it originally grew or even kill the plant off. Extinction would become a more heated problem as fracking becomes an increasingly global practice. Should it continue?
Now, another thing to add, I remember what I was going to say. I was going to say that a lot of people in like California and places where there's quite a lot of fracking, there's a similar gold rush going on for the natural gas there. Because if people are getting filthy rich over manual labor in a fracking plant.
Yes, they are, because there are so much more jobs, and then they can save money by reusing the equipment from one fracking site to the next.
Yes, but I was just going to add on to the thing that Emma was saying before, but I had forgotten. Fracking is driving solar energy and wind energy out of business, which is actually not quite as efficient, but a very lot less harmful to the planet.
I do agree with you. Trust me, I would prefer solar energy and wind energy rather than gas. But with gas, there is more of it on the earth because if you use natural gas in a car, it will run longer. But I know they're making electric cars that also use gasoline, but there are very little amounts of actual electronic and solar powered cars, and no matter what, they're always a little bit more expensive, maybe by a few $1,000s, just because of what they have to do. But also with these solar panels and the wind energy, what do those companies and plants use to create the metals for them and also actually constructing them?
Natural
They use
gas.
natural gas and lots of other fumes that could destroy and hurt the atmosphere and the earth.
And they save money. Again, they have a lot of jobs. There haven't been. It's hard to find a job around this time, but fracking provides a lot of jobs, as I said earlier, and it doesn't cost as much because we're fracking on American soil, so we don't have to pay for the imports.
Fracking can also disrupt people's homes as well. Because it is the practice of shattering rock, it can cause sinkholes or like something like a small earthquake. It can suck houses down or land or property.
Another quick comment. A lot of people don't know what fracking is. Most people do not, but I think that if they did know, most of them would vote against it because of what it does to the planet.
A select few people get very, very wealthy off fracking. But is that really a fair price to pay for the well-being of the American people? That's the question you have to ask yourself before.
Right. Time is running out, so at this point, I'm gonna let each team make one final comment. So I'll give you about 30 seconds to get together and decide on what is this comment you wanna use to nail home your point, and we'll wrap this one up.
I do agree with your points, but in Pennsylvania, 9.5 billion gallons of water used daily in Pennsylvania. Natural gas development only uses 1.9 million gallons.
But if you think of all the gallons of water that goes into the fracking plant itself, into putting natural gas, into putting the liquid into the ground to fracture, that is quite a lot more.
But still, they do distill it, so the water that they've taken does re-enter the cycle and does go back into the ground, and it has a chance of coming back up to be recycled. They do recycle the water, or as many of them do. Not much of the water comes out, about 30 to 50% of the water does come out of the ground, but that water makes a big difference out of that 1.9 million gallons of water that is used for fracking.
And they can reuse that water that they retrieve so they don't have to pollute more water.
All right, last comment over here, please.
But only 2% of the water on Earth is currently drinkable. And some of that water, actually a fair amount of that water is going towards fracking. As we've evolved over time, we've made it this far in the cycle of evolution, and we did not need fuel. And honestly, it does demand it, but there are other ways, other cleaner ways, other even more efficient ways to receive fuel.
All right, excellent job, both teams, but we have to stop